Hello, I'd like to tell each of you some information about Tacoma that you may not know too much about. I will start off with saying that one day I was walking through the Tacoma War Memorial, and as I walked through the stillness of this memorial, I had the memory strike me of how much the lives of a few may and have impacted this community. This community has a reverence for the lives of those that have lived before us. At this memorial, there are over 750 names of men and women who have given their all in World War II to help preserve our nation. Yet when walking through these grand reminders of the past, I knew that Tacoma had no such memorial for over 100,000 lives. Lives of those that have fallen in this city and Pierce County in the last 40 years. When talking with people outside the city, I was once reminded of Galloping Gertie by one of them, a bridge that had collapsed more than 70 years ago. Last that come to my mind are the old grainy vintage footage I've seen from the early 20th century disaster as the bridge teetered back and forth and collapsed. The history of Tacoma is so much more than this bridge though. Tacoma is a city that represents the American dream, adventure and courage to create new lives. Since the completion of the Western Terminus Railway through Tacoma in 1887, the city has seen tremendous growth. One of the early founders, Mr. John Wilson Sprague, termed this city the city of destiny. The city called destiny. I have a great fondness for those that have lived here and those that do live here. I've lived here the majority of my life. When driving home across the bridge, where two new bridges stand, I have a sense of pride. The new bridges showcase the strength of the city. Though the disaster is often still remembered, there is another disaster that has continued unabated since 1970. Yet if you were to measure the history of the city of Tacoma by the storied past and the many lives that have helped to weave the fabric of the city, you must also know of the darker side, the loss of life from abortion. What I aim to do is relay the most accurate information available of this ongoing human event that is mainly known for a three-syllable word. What follows are the numbers from the Tacoma Health Department, the Pierce County Health Department, the Washington State's Health Department, and what is supplied by the Guttmacher Institute, an information-keeping wing of Planned Parenthood. I knew from the onset of my research that human lives are not merely statistics. Yet in the letters and numbers of these very statistics, a unique quality that only human life can bring is brought down to the level of mere data points. In this data, the voices of those that have died are unheard. Examining the numbers of health department lists, you will see that every 2 years, more than 6,000 people die from heart disease, and thousands from cancer. Yet, delving deeper in these numbers in Pierce County and Tacoma, you will come to a disparity in the deaths recorded when adding in the listed abortions, an omitted figure. The omitted figure is anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 annually. The fact that the health department is concealing these figures disturbed me. This number of lives lost each year represents the darker side of the fabric of this city. Tacoma has seen the population rise from a few hundred people in 1875 to just near 150,000 in 1960, according to the United States Census that year. A decade later, the vision of one woman would change the course of Tacoma forever. From the time of 1970 to 2007, this city and county has had, according to three sources of health department data, at least 99,000 abortions, to more than 110,000. There is a recorded minimum in 1 year of 2,700 to a maximum of 5,000. The city since then has increased to a population of 200,000. This represents a 25% gain. Yet if we were to add this 100,000 to the figure, it would represent 50% of all living people in the city. 1970 is the year that abortion services opened in Tacoma. In Tacoma now, Planned Parenthood is the primary abortion clinic and has the most amount of clinics in the city. And then Planned Parenthood was founded by Margaret Sanger. What follows is a quote from Margaret Sanger in a 1950 letter to her friend, Catherine Dexter McCormick. Catherine McCormick was one who used her vast wealth to fund the birth control pill. This research is accessible through Mahaf 21. I consider the world, and almost our civilization for the next 25 years, is going to depend on a simple, cheap, safe contraceptive to be used in the jungles and among the most ignorant of people. Even this will not be sufficient, because I believe that now, immediately, there should be sterilization for certain dysgenic types of our population who are being encouraged to breed and would die out were the government not feeding them. Planned Parenthood since then has expanded to more than 440 centers throughout the United States, according to the Guttmacher Institute. Since 1970, there has been a steady growth of abortion clinics in Tacoma, centered on Hilltop, an urban, lower-income section of this city. Margaret Sanger established Planned Parenthood. She was a proponent for a one-child policy in America and advocated contraception and abortion for dysgenic races, feeble-minded, the unfit, those from the jungles, and ignorant races. These are her words. Her legacy is 1,800 abortion providers in operation in the United States and over 440 currently operated by Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood in Washington State received over $4 million through Title X funding from the federal government this last year. Planned Parenthood and the other abortion centers in Tacoma and Pierce County account for near 4,000 abortions each year. All this data is supplied to the health departments on a voluntary means only. There is no federal regulations on abortion providers to record abortions per year. In this speech, I have touched on the city of Tacoma and the scope of what is not readily known about it. Up to 100,000 human lives were lost in just the last 40 years through abortion. Each city is woven together with the lives of its citizens, and it is good to know the complete story therein. This data can be accessed from the health departments for each city, though it often is a voluntary means only. I have spoken of this data collected from these health departments and the Guttmacher Institute. Thank you for your time.